Welcome to Blackbeard Logic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it. Leon here with Blackbeard Logic. Get out to my truck this morning, and this is what I was dealing with. Another beautiful morning, turn the key, and yeah, that's blue smoke. Just what I needed. Set me back 2 days. My truck is gargling gravel and coughing up a storm. But I can fix it. Here we go. We don't need that. Do without that. That's probably optional. Moving on to phase 2. Yeah. I probably should have just called Laura Auto Repair. If you've got auto issues, call this guy, Doug at Laura Auto Repair. And don't be like me. Seriously, call this guy. Don't be like this guy. Blackbeard Logic.
Welcome to Blackbeard Logic. Now, this is not a discussion tonight. This is a warning. This is a warning that we should all be familiar with. It's basically the building blocks. What we're going to discuss tonight are the building blocks of 1984. Many of us don't realize that these building blocks have been quietly put in place, brick by brick. You got the FISA courts. You got flock cameras. You have kill switches in cars. You have the central bank digital currencies. These are not theories. You have the data centers. You have AI to run it all. They're not theories anymore. These are not future threats. These are live weapons that are being implemented now. The data centers are the backbone. They are the silent fortresses storing every license plate, every conversation, every dollar that you spend. AI is the engine. Cold, tireless, deciding in milliseconds who is safe, who is suspect, and who gets shut down. The FISA court rubber stamps the spy. The flock cameras never blink. The kill switches wait for the command. And the central bank digital currency turns your money into a leash. Now you layer those all together, and privacy doesn't just fade, it is completely erased. No shadows, no second chances, just permanent, total invisibility. The Fourth Amendment, guys, is not a suggestion. It's not optional. It is the last line of defense between free people and tyranny. This is Blackbeard Logic. And on this show tonight, I want to show you something. That the surveillance state is not just coming. It's already here. What I plan to do is map every brick, every layer in this thing before the engine locks the door for good. I want you to have the information that you need. This show isn't going to be all doom and gloom, but I am going to show you some things. And I am going to offer a couple of solutions. So strap in, stay tuned, Blackbeard Logic, let's get it.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Good afternoon, good evening. It's evening now. Man, I've had a heck of a day. I've been arguing with friends, I started my day. I was on a 4 mile run with a vest on when Clay called me about getting on with Todd Mitchell. So I stopped my run and I hopped on with him. And then after that, like my phone has been going crazy all day. And to the extent that I had a minor disagreement, I'll say, with a very old friend of mine in this radio ecosystem that we got going on here. I'm Leon Francis, your host for tonight. Blackbeard Logic, Guns and the 701. Where is my caption button? Hang on a sec. There we go. Guns and the 701. And I don't know if you saw that first little commercial, like if you joined us late or whatever. My truck took a dump on me. Actually, I murdered my truck. So I blew a head gasket in that thing. Set me back 2 days. That's why I didn't have the show last Friday, because it happened then. That's when it happened. Last Friday, my truck is done for. And I love that thing. Hey, Dan. Thank you for all the comments that have already come in. So I think we're going to have a pretty good show for you. Anyway, let's get back. So the hot button topic of the day is data centers. And I want to take 2 seconds to explain something. I've had people like contact me because I kind of lump flock security cameras and data centers and AI and robots and all of that into one pot. And I'm going to explain to you why. The reason I dump all of that into the same pot is because what I do, I am a network engineer. So I see the components of the network and I talk about the network. So to me, it's all one thing. So all of these pieces, these layers in this network, to me, they all matter. And so when I talk about them, I am talking about the entire thing. And what I'm seeing, especially now, as the AI data center build out, and that's what this is. Again, I'll go back. I've done in my professional career tons of build outs, tons of build outs. It's kind of what I do. It's kind of like my bread and butter. When I was at UPS, this is what I did. That shiny new facility, the airport facility that they have in Fargo, I have a plaque on the wall with my name on it because I built that thing out at Hector. From soup to nuts, from the first bolt that was put into that server room to the build out to the runway to all of the components in all of the components that make that whole system run. I did that, and that's what I've been doing for Ericsson. That's what I would do. I would go into new dental or medical facilities. I'd build out their network. So you need servers, switches, you need APs, you need all of this medical equipment, all tied back to the network. That to me, that's the network. So it's one thing to me, even though I talk about each component. Now, one of the components and what I see as an Orwellian state that we are building out quietly too. Quietly, we're going to talk a little bit, probably in the second hour, but we're going to talk a little bit about like what happened out in Harwood, what happened with the NDAs that Applied Digital basically forced the city officials to sign, and I think that was unconstitutional. I'm just going to say that. I'm going to make the argument for that also. In hour two, I might have to bring that up earlier because now that I'm thinking about it, that's a lot of data to crunch. But the fact of the matter is, I think the entire way that was handled was unconstitutional under our North Dakota Constitution. And I'm going to make the argument for that. And I'm not a legal beagle, so there could be some attorney out there that just pops up and says, "Hey, you're an idiot." But this is the way I see it. As a non-legal entity, this is the way I see it. And everything that I tell you guys, I'll put it on the screen. Like I typed up everything, all of my arguments, all of my conclusions, all of that. I typed them up. I'll put them on the screen, and you guys can go, "Hey, yeah, that makes sense," or you can go, "God, you're an idiot. Stick with IT." So we're going to do that thing. I'm also going to offer a framework for solutions to the issues that people are having with data centers. And keep in mind, we say data centers, and it's just this one homogenous thing, and they're not. There are many different types of data centers. I earlier today, Scott Hannon called me and asked me, had me on air actually, and said, "Hey, well, I have people contacting me saying that you and I are in like a fight, or I'm trashing him online." I'm not. I'm going to say this. I'm not trashing those guys. I consider Scott Hannon and Jay Thomas both good friends of mine. I do. But friends can disagree. Like me, ask my buddy Bob Wheeler. Like, friends can disagree, and we can be heated in our disagreement and still be friends. I hope. That's my mindset. Now, if I say something tonight on this podcast that loses me my friendship with those two, well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Where I want to start this show right now is with the flock cameras. And the reason I'm going to start them now, start this conversation right now with these cameras, is I'm driving back, and I live way out in the middle of nowhere. You got to understand this. So, 2 episodes back, I showed you the map of flock surveillance cameras. And I know that the police chief in Fargo has been on, and he's been, extolling the virtues of flock and how it caught, which I don't believe, but how it caught those guys, those kids that ran into the outdoorsmen and stole all those guns and blah, 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 yada, 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 this and that. And when I showed that map, I was kind of happy because there's a wide swath of America that does not have this surveillance yet, or very little. I kind of figured or expected that it'd be out in Fargo, Bismarck, Minot. But on my way home, I had a what the flock type moment. And I'll show it to you. And this is why I want to start here. Give me 1 second. Where did I put it? Here we go. So just so you understand how pervasive the surveillance state is becoming, this just went up. This is right outside of Enderlin, North Dakota. And there's nothing but cornfields and soybeans, and this went up last week. Look at that. Make you feel safe, don't you know? This upsets me a little bit. So, obviously, that camera is going on deflocked.org. Obviously. The fact that way out here in the middle of nowhere, these things are popping up now. And there's a reason for that. Here, let me show you this. I showed you guys this, I think it was last week. 2 weeks ago. This is how pervasive the flock technology is. And this is all within like a year and a half, 2 years. They quietly roll this out. You see Fargo there, Grand Forks, Minot, Bismarck, out there in Dickinson. And you look at this network, and by itself, you're just like, well, license plate readers, that sort of thing. All of these, and I showed on that video 2 weeks ago, that police officer that basically convicted that lady, and the thing he was using was the flock cameras. He said, and I quote, "You can't even breathe in this community without us seeing it." That's what he said to her. Had her crying. It was not her. She did not do it, and they eventually had to drop the whole thing. But the fact of the matter is, they're building out this network to do exactly what he said. And of course, the police officers, the police chiefs, and folks like that, they're going to love this thing because it circumnavigates your Fourth Amendment protections. Do you see? Look at all of these. This is in Fargo right here. Look at that. And now I'm gonna have to add one. This is DFlock maps on dflock.com. But now I'm gonna have to add to that because they're popping up in rural areas. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm going to show you something else. This is just, I want you to understand where we're headed. You know what these are already doing technology, phones, with homing stations. That's what these are. Something else I wanted you guys to see. Last week, and because I'm a nerd, and again, I want you to understand, with me, what you see is what you get. I'll tell you exactly how I feel about pretty much everything. I am a nerd. Always had been. My mom got me into Star Trek and Stargate and like all of the things. So I love that futuristic. I'm one of the guys, and I'd be tickled to know who else out there felt this way when they were a kid. I could not wait to get the skateboard that was basically an electromagnet, and it rode the magnetic currents in Back to the Future. I was the flying cars. I was that guy waiting patiently for that. I'm the guy that cannot wait, like I've said many times, to pat my chest lapel and have someone beam me from Fargo to Louisiana, reassemble me over there. I'm that guy. I'm not anti-technology at all. I'm not a knuckle-dragging troglodyte at all. But I am concerned. Check this out. These are the robot fights that happened last week at Urkel, the Urkel event. And right now, I want you to understand that these things are still in their infancy. They have come a very, very long way, but they're still in their infancy. And right now, you have human controllers controlling them with a AI backbone to kind of augment it. But when AI is able to be fully integrated, you won't need the human controllers. But I just want you to see these things. This is not AI. This is not like Chinese propaganda. These are actual light robots. You see, it's still going. Look at this. Look at how agile. And this is with human controllers. I wanted you to see that. The amount of technology going forward is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Elon Musk retooled a bunch of his Tesla factories specifically for robots. And he estimates between 500 million robots to 1 billion robots will be manufactured, especially after AI, within 5 years. Again, part of the network. Part of the network. You have the flock technology. You have the surveillance camera technology. Oh, here's another thing I want you guys to be aware of. And then we're going to dig into the actual meat of the show. These are just things I want you to keep in your head. The things that are possible, the things that we have right now. And then we're going to go back to my overarching theme for the show. The whole Orwellian panopticon, the digital prison, where you'll get just enough freedom and comfort to be comfortable, but you will be living in a surveillance state that rivals China, since China is the big boogeyman on everybody's lips right now, or in Europe. But I want you to see this. This is a company that's partnering with streetlight vendors, with the ALPR camera systems, that whole ecosystem. And I want you to see this. This is coming. They already have some of these implemented in some cities, but I want you to see this.
With more than 900 cities and utilities for turning ordinary streetlights into extraordinary tools for public safety. Our UB Hub platform is easy enforcement, more eyes, and real-time intelligence where they need it and when they need it. Here's a brief video to show you how we do it.
So this is the camera here. It is a license plate reader and video camera all in one. It installs in seconds on existing infrastructure. It's pretty much plug and play. Only holes are required.
So now, with the help of my teammate Todd, let's install.
Yeah, that's enough of that. So these things, like a skilled technician, like I could probably install that thing in less than 20 minutes. I could probably install a block a day just by myself with a lift. Install this new tech. And now let's get into the meat. Now that you've seen a couple of things here, we're going to get into the meat of the first hour. Let me see. I'm only 26 minutes in, so here we go. This is one of the flashpoints. Someone sent me this. I can't remember who. Even if I did, I wouldn't put his name out there. But sent me this video here. And I have a problem with it. And this was the crux of the conversation I had with Scott Hannon earlier today, right here.
I believe it was on Fox News or News Nation. I was reading it, that the guy that's behind this push for all these protesting around the country, these data centers, he's a very, very rich guy, lives in Shanghai. He's an American, but he's over there. He's like in his 70s, sold his company for $800 million. And he's funneling all his money to all these groups.
Where's Shanghai located?
Shanghai, yeah, exactly. Well, and this guy has he's been investigated by Department of Justice and others because of his ties to China's Communist Party.
Another example on that one that I've shared with the listeners many times is a huge data center being built in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin O'Leary is part of that operation, and Kevin O'Leary was telling me a story, and he said it on national TV. The day they announced it, all of his social media went through the roof. I forget how many, whatever followers he has.
Millions.
It jumped by 10x. Okay, and he's like, "Why? Like, what is causing that?" And they pulled some strings, as they do. Did a forensic investigation of all of the IT behind it. China.
Yeah.
And so China does not want us.
They don't want us having these
to win.
They want to win the AI war,
and they are ahead. So I agree with you on that one.
And all this concern about. I was just watching Mike Rowe over the weekend doing an interview. He was being interviewed and asked, we're hearing that AI is going to take away all these jobs, and even Mike Rowe, who's Mr. Blue Collar, get out there work. He's like, no, it's not. We need to embrace this.
Yeah, I actually interviewed him a few weeks ago in Simi Valley, California.
I watched that.
And he is so well versed on this, and it's all about opportunity for your kids and choices.
That's what he was.
I'm going to address this on the other side of this break. There's a lot to say about that little snippet there. My good friends. Both of these guys are my friends. I want you guys to understand that. But I got some things to say, and I'm going to say it on the other side of this break. So, Blackbeard Logic, Guns in the 701. We'll be right back, right after this break.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro-Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro-Second Amendment, pro-North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalen's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalen and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemon. Kalen's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, I'm thinking I'm back.
Welcome back. Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic, Guns to the 701 Network. Again, I've been good friends with both Jay and Scott, and I feel like I just have to say this because I don't want this to turn into some Candace Owens versus Ben Shapiro type deal. It's not that. But I do have a problem with this. And again, when I cut my teeth on North Dakota politics, and I was standing at that first Tea Party rally, it was Scott Hannon holding the mic. I mean, me and Jay Thomas, I've taken them on shooting excursions. I'll just say that him and Alex. So when I say they're my friends, I mean that. But they couldn't be more wrong on this issue. And hearing two men that I respect push what sounds to me like scripted talking points is genuinely unsettling. I mean, it is a core conservative principle to question everything. I mean, we're capitalists, right? We're not kleptocrats. And when anyone frames a legitimate concern about powerful interests or surveillance as you're just duped by Chinese propaganda. The conversation is being shut down on purpose, in my humble opinion. And that's not debate. To me, that sounds like control. I don't like that. It's a garbage argument. And any red-blooded American, and I got news for you guys. This topic on data centers and the Orwellian state that we are building out cuts across party lines. You have liberals, you have libertarians, you have Republicans, you have conservatives. There are senators across the spectrum right now working on legislation to try to rein this in, because it is a big issue to a lot of people. There's a couple of things in this clip, like, obviously, the Chinese are pushing this propaganda. That's not true. That's a lie. I'm sorry. That's not true. There may be internet memes and little dumb things out there, but the core, the crux of the issue that we're talking about from the folks that I've been talking to, it's all local. None of it is this Chinese propaganda that they're trying to say is the core behind the protest and the outrage and the questions that are being asked about the data centers and the surveillance state and all of that stuff. When did we become these people? I just, that blew my mind. Another issue I have with this clip is Mike Rowe did not say what they alluded to him saying. He did not. I subscribe. I don't know. They probably saw, I'm going to tell you, they probably saw a soundbite, a snippet of something. But this was taken completely out of context. I've listened to Mike Rowe on the whole AI thing. 2 episodes ago, I showed you Sam Altman speaking in front of a graduating class and being booed because he was extolling the virtues of AI. He was being booed by that graduating class. Do you know why? He was being booed because all of those kids in there knew that with the rise of AI, that little diploma, most of them were worthless anyway, but that diploma that they held, and he was at a prestigious college, is now going to be worth nothing. What Mike Rowe was saying, and I agree with him on this, is if you're a kid and you went to a vocational college and you learned how to lay pipe or turn a wrench or build out infrastructure or things like that, your job is going to be just fine. It's everybody else that has to worry. So I'm telling you this. And again, I love these guys, but they are wrong. Again, what I told Scott today, a microcosm of what is going to happen is Walmart and the checkout center, the checkout line. All of those checkers, or just go to a Walgreens or a CVS and try and pick up some medication. And it's automated. Those jobs are lost. I was picking up some medication for my dad in Fargo, and there were like, I forget how many people were in line, but like 5 people at a time. They just kind of walk up to a screen and they put in their information, and someone in the back goes, if it wasn't for that automation, you would have 5 jobs there. 5 people. That's the micro. That's a microcosm of what is going to happen. So, if you're a CPA, why do they need you, your company? Why does your company need you if AI can crunch those numbers and crunch that data a heck of a lot faster than you? If you're a law clerk and your job is to pull all of the relevant laws and case law and all of that. Why do they need you when AI can do it in seconds? All of the relevant case law, all of it. So I had a problem with that statement because that's not what Micro said. That's not what Micro has been saying. And again, I'm not doom and gloom. I think technology is going to have there's going to be a sea change in the way we do everything. Space exploration, science, research on like cancer and just, it's going to be phenomenal. But we need safeguards in place. What we don't need is powerful interest in bed with people who have our ear just to get it done. I heard my friend Jay Thomas say on one of his shows, as a matter of fact, I think I called in, and we had a minor disagreement on air, and he said something to the effect, because we were talking about flock cameras, and he said they don't bother him because I'm not doing anything wrong, and you have no expectation of privacy in public anyway. That was disheartening. I mean, and again, I've made this argument before. It doesn't matter if you think you've done anything wrong. It's what the state says you've done wrong. Those Canadian truckers, in my opinion, didn't do anything wrong. But because the state wanted to cripple them, what did they do? They took away any ability that they had to use the money that they had. They would go to the ATM machine. They didn't have access because the state had the bank pull their account, freeze their account. And so then what happened? Folks in America, folks in Canada started GoFundMe pages. And what did the government do? They shut them down. They shut them. The government did that. I had friends that I disagreed with on the whole cryptocurrency thing because they said the government can't touch it. And I'm like, why not? If you don't have physical currency on you and you have to go to an ATM or any institution to get it, the government can absolutely freeze that asset. So what are we even talking about? You know? And it's like I said, the flock camera, the flock safety, and like successors like Axon Light Post, they're not just cameras. They're the eyes of a digital panopticon, and that's out of Orwell. And they're quietly cataloging every drive, every turn, every errand that you make. Billions of license plates are scanned and stored, and they're searchable, shareable with the federal government or the local government without a warrant. That's not like law enforcement. That's suspicious list mass surveillance that treats every citizen as a potential suspect. That's what that is. The Fourth Amendment was written precisely to stop that. No unreasonable searches, no general warrants, which is exactly what this is, a general warrant, sweeping up the innocent alongside the guilty. Yet here we are, trading liberty for the illusion of safety, while government and contractors build dossiers on our daily lives. Orwell warned us about Big Brother. He didn't just call it public safety technology. I'm going to step back. We got to shut down these dragnet systems. I heard the chief of Fargo extolling the virtues of flock cameras and this and that. And of course they are going to do that. Of course they're going to do that. But it's like I said this morning on Todd Mitchell's show. Our Constitution isn't there to make the officer's job easy. It's there to make it harder. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. And again, it's like I said, we could throw out the Fourth Amendment. We could throw it out. And police officers can see a suspicious guy and just go grab him up. Force a confession out of him. You know, just on suspicion. I mean, why do you need probable cause? You know? Let's talk about that, you know? Oh my God. I'm glad. I call it flockaganda. And I'm glad to see that we are finally waking up to the fact that these mass surveillance dragnets are already blanketing our streets. Politicians' phones and inboxes are lighting up with angry constituents, and I'm happy to see that. But you got the police departments and the billion-dollar companies selling them as like chiclets. They dig in. They start pumping out carefully scripted success stories, like in Fargo, claiming that without Flock's spy cameras, the bad guy would get away. Most of those stories collapse under about 30 seconds of scrutiny. Just so you know. Suspect would have been found anyway. Sometimes the guy literally walks into the police station, one of these Flock success stories, and turns himself in, and Flock still takes a victory lap. But here's the point. We don't, with our system, with the American system, set up with that thing behind us, with all the guarantees of liberties that we have, we don't have to prove that the system is never useful. I mean, of course, a totalitarian dragnet can catch real criminals sometimes, but that's not the standard we should be using. Every single word of the Fourth Amendment makes the police job harder. If the highest goal of a free society is to make law enforcement life easy as possible, then again, let's just repeal the whole thing and be done with it. Seriously, like I said with Todd Mitchell this morning, the next time they throw that whole flockaganda at you, run the same test that you would run with any other constitutional violation. Hey, if we hadn't kicked in his door without a warrant, we would never have solved the case. Hey, if we hadn't beaten a confession out of her, the victim would still be missing. Or if we just locked that guy up for life without a trial, he can't reoffend. You know? It's called fruit of the poisonous tree. Like there's tons of case law. Tons of case law. And we don't do those things because, you know, we enjoy making the cops' life difficult or making them sweat. We hold to these truths because we refuse to trade a free society for a slightly more efficient one. Like, it's non-negotiable with me. The government does not get to stalk us without a judge first finding probable cause and signing a specific warrant. And the Supreme Court has already said that applies to GPS tracking and cell location data. And I'll tell you something else about that. That court case was for liberals, who I hate. But this court, the Supreme Court case that I'm referencing here, was for liberal protesters. And they say And the Supreme Court said you got to find probable cause. You can't do the whole GPS tracking. You can't do that. But Flock thinks it's selling the loophole. AI cameras and databases that accomplish what would be illegal by any other means, and then it's marketing that loophole to every police chief and every mayor and every concerned citizen. That's what they're doing. So the next time you hear this flockaganda, ask yourself one question. Would you accept the exact same outcome if it came from an illegal search or a forced confession? If the answer is no, you've already admitted the truth. Protecting every American's constitutional right is more important than solving any single crime. Spy robots don't get special exemption just because somebody's getting rich off them. And I'll end that rant with that. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the data centers. That's what we're going to talk about. The conversation that wasn't who did I think it Scott Hannon. Yeah, it was Scott Hannon. I found that conversation enlightening. Apparently, he had never heard of any issues with data centers, and I get it. He doesn't live in this sphere. He doesn't live in this ecosystem. So he only knows what the guys at like Applied Digital is telling him. Everything is great. When we come back, we're going to talk about some things that are not so great. Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic, Guns in the 701. We'll be right back right after this break.
Hey, it's Leon Francis from Blackbeard Logic on the Guns in the 701 network. I'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Stay tuned.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake.
Make no mistake.
Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
I am Leon Francis, and this is Blackbeard Logic on the Guns and the 701 network. Let's get it.
So last point on this. So today I had that conversation with Scott Hannon. I'm Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic on the Guns in the 701 network. And he said, you know, he hadn't heard of like any issues basically with, you know, these data centers. And he even said that, you know, there's tons of data centers already here, not on this scale. Like they are doing a build out for AI modeling. So the data centers that they are building everywhere, and there are problems everywhere. People all over the planet are having issues with these data centers, all over the planet. And I think that, and we're going to discuss this, I think that it could be mitigated with some basic resident forward frameworks going forward that can be tweaked and conditioned to each community. And we're going to talk about that here in just a bit. But here, I want to go to, where's my slides? Oh, I did not put it in here. That's concerning. Oh, I did. Here we go. So this is the instance that I referenced when I was on Scott's show, right here. This is Forbes, but you can find this article or similar article, anywhere. This is the Meta AI data center linked to rare bacteria in city's water system. So, concerned citizens are concerned about, and again, this isn't just one time that the citizens are concerned about this. This is the thing. This was in Cheyenne, Wyoming. A rare bacterium was detected in reclaimed water after wastewater from the Meta AI data center's commissioning entered the system. Though not in the drinking water, officials worried about aerosolized exposure in public areas. This marks the first reported microbial contamination linked to an AI data center, yada, yada, yada. So, one of the things that I want to touch on today is a lot of the data centers, when we're talking about the new ones, the rollout for AI modeling, we're not talking about the regular run-of-the-mill data centers. These things are going to be massive. They are massive. They have a huge land footprint. They also consume tons of water. They also have environmental impacts. And even when we're talking about the closed loop cooling system, and I'm not going to get into the weeds, but the closed loop cooling system, in my humble opinion, is probably the best way forward, but there still needs to be safeguards. Because despite what they'll tell you, it's not actually a closed loop. It is, in a sense. But every couple of years, you got to flush that thing. And where's that water going to go? And that's all that residents are asking. Like, hey, what's going on here? What's going on here? When that old fluid is replaced, it becomes industrial wastewater. It's either pre-treated or discharged into the municipal sewer. And that's only if local rules allow. But how are you going to know that? Again, and I don't want to be always cynical. But the tenor of the conversation that I've been hearing is, again, with my buddy Scott and Jay, folks with concerns are just being manipulated, and I am paraphrasing. I understand that this is not exactly what they said. But this is how it fell on my ears. You're being manipulated by Chinese propaganda. No? No. Goes a little deeper than that. When they flush these systems, and they have to flush them, it's a closed system. I get that. But they have to flush them. I say every 2 years, that's the industry standard. But between 1 and 4 years, you have to flush the system. Where's all that water going? That water contains like glycols and chemical additives and all of that stuff. And we know that big companies wouldn't dare do any, illegal or improper dumping, right? We all know that, right? I'm being sarcastic right now if you can't tell. The common rule is every 2 years. That's the rule of thumb. A really well-monitored system can sometimes go longer, but 4 years is kind of the max on that. And I'll even give them this. Like, you're testing these things regularly. And you drain it when the chemical makeup in there degrades. or like the inhibitors wear out, or some type of fouling appears, but it still happens. So where's that water going? Where are they getting the water to power that thing, to cool that thing? And water isn't the only issue. Here, let's talk about this. We're going to talk about, let's see, the issues with the U.S. data center build-outs. Now, as I said before, these build-outs, even in North Dakota, they're heavily driven by AI hyperscale demand. So the electricity needed, the power constraints, the water use, the land and community impacts, permitting and supply chain delays is something that we should be able to talk about. Here, I'm going to do this. Nope, that's the wrong one. So let's just go back to this. You know what? What I'm going to talk about right now is we're going to go back local. Let's do that. North Dakota. I mean, for the folks that don't know, so I think Florida was the emerging, but they're having issues with like water and tons of people that are moving down there and this and that. So, and these data centers are going in all over the place. But what they're looking for is like cool climates, which is why North Dakota is so attractive. Because it takes less to cool them. You're using less resources to keep them as cool as possible. And as I've said before, these things get incredibly hot. Incredibly hot. If you've ever had your GPU go out or your fan go out on any of your devices, computer, laptop, whatever, that times 1,000. That times 1,000,000. These things get hot. I told Perry when I was on the Due North Political Podcast, just walk into your server room and tell me what you see in here. First thing is going to be the heat. Well, no, the first thing is going to be the sound because they are incredibly loud. That's why you have to build server rooms to certain specs. They have to have their own cooling system. And this is anywhere you go. They have to have their own cooling system because if it gets too hot in there, all of your equipment is done. It's fried. So North Dakota is attractive because of its cold climate. So you got the natural cooling thing, and then you have relatively abundant and affordable power. You have rural land, fiber connectivity, all of that. You have the state tax incentives, like sales and use tax exemption on IT equipment, things like that, cooling systems, etc. Northern Virginia, Georgia, Arizona, like places like that. But if we're talking about here in North Dakota, like with Applied Digital, which is the most prominent player in North Dakota. We're talking about like Ellendale. That's Dickey County, Polaris Forge 1, operating and expanding the AI focused capacity. It's air cooled right now, but I think that they're moving to a closed loop water cooling system. And then you got the one in Harwood. Oof. There's a presence. There's another system, and I don't have the information because, and we'll talk about this in a minute, near Jamestown. There are projects planned in Williston. That's Williams County. Yeah, these things are going all over the place. They're going all over the place. There are tons of concerns. One of the concerns is citizen input, resident input, in my humble opinion, is being eroded. It's not being listened to. A lot of citizens feel like their input doesn't matter because you'll have some fancy guy in a suit come in and tut their concerns, and then you have talking heads that will confirm that tutting. It's Chinese propaganda, don't you know? Let's bring it closer to home to Fargo. Like, I can make compelling arguments why how Applied Digital broke our Constitution here. And the city officials in Fargo broke the law. I'm going to make that argument right now. And it's like I said, I'm not a legal beagle or legal eagle, however that phrase goes. So if there's a attorney out there in the audience and he goes, hey, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, but this is my argument here. When they signed that NDA, in my humble opinion, for Applied Digital, I don't think that I think that they did it illegally. North Dakota law creates a strong presumption that all records of public interest, let's just say that, and that would be in North Dakota Century Code 44-4-18. You can't sign an NDA in order to get the business. And when Harwood and Fargo officials signed those NDAs with Applied Digital, I think that they broke the law. An NDA cannot lawfully require officials to withhold anything from the citizens. The agreements delayed transparency and limited the officials' ability to inform their constituents. And that's the core purpose of the North Dakota Sunshine Laws, is government accountability. They can't contract the people's right away from that. They can't do that. They can't override a statute. Our open records law rests on a simple but powerful principle that government belongs to the people. The North Dakota Constitution established a strong presumption that all records of public entity are public records, unless specific statutes say otherwise. And that's it. And so my first point is this: public officials cannot contract away the public's right to know. So when mayors and city administrators, commissioners, and planning staff sign that NDA in their official capacities, they're acting as agents of the public. They cannot lawfully agree to keep secret information that the open records law requires to be accessible. A private company has every right to protect its own proprietary information. It does not have the right to impose secrecy on elected and appointed officials regarding the matters of public business. An NDA cannot override a statute. That is my humble opinion on that. And that's my point one. My point two, see, look at this. It's missing. But my point two, and when I rebroadcast this, I'll put that in there. Point two is the NDAs delayed disclosure of matters of clear public business. The Harwood project involved hundreds of megawatts of power demand, significant land use, potential annexation fights, infrastructure upgrades, tax incentives, and long-term impacts on small communities and the broader Fargo region. And these are textbook examples of public business. So by requiring public officials to remain silent for weeks, for months, while planning and permitting moved forward, the NDAs effectively created a period of government secrecy. Residents learned of the project only after key decisions were already in motion, which is precisely what the open records and the open meeting laws were designed to prevent. The law doesn't allow public officials to operate in the dark simply because a private company prefers it. And then we move to my third point. We modified the NDA to protect open records. That's what they said. But that's not a full defense. Some of these Fargo officials claimed that they negotiated language to preserve the compliance with open records law. And even if that's true, it does not cure the problem. The very act of signing an NDA that restricts communication with the constituents creates a chilling effect and a conflict of loyalty. Officials who have signed such agreements are no longer fully free to answer basic questions from the public that they serve. The practical result was delayed transparency on a multi-billion-dollar project with major local consequences. The open records law is not satisfied by eventual disclosure after the fact. Timely access is essential to meaningful public participation. This is my fourth point. This practice erodes democratic accountability. If companies can routinely require elected officials to sign NDAs before discussing major projects, then the public's ability to hold government accountable is weakened. Citizens cannot effectively question, support, or oppose what they don't know about, which is why that thing got built. And then now people are going, wait a minute, what's going on here? That's the opposite of the government in the sunshine that North Dakota law demands. And my conclusion is this. The applied digital NDAs did not merely protect legitimate trade secrets, they restricted public officials from sharing information about a major public business matter with the people that they represent. In doing so, they conflicted with clear presumption of openness in North Dakota's Constitution and Century Codes. Public officials serve the public first, not the private corporations, which I see going on way too often. Any agreement that requires those officials to withhold information about public business from the citizens of North Dakota stands in direct tension with the state's open record laws and should be rejected as incompatible with them. That's my argument. Prove me wrong. I'll say that. On any of my social media, and I'll put my email address in there. If you're an attorney and you agree with my argument here, or just email me, I'll send you everything that I researched. I'll send it to you with my points, with my conclusion, and you just tell me, what do you think? And I did this bit of research because in my next segment, my closing segment, I'm going to proffer a framework that prevents things like this from happening in North Dakota. So, again, Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic, Guns and the 701, and we're going to be back right after this, and I'm going to give you what I think is the answer.
Okay, let's go.
I am Leon Francis of Blackbeard Logic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it.
Anvil Brand LLC, raising and training tomorrow's barrel horses right out of Bismarck, North Dakota. Tracy and her family are great American patriots who not only support the Second Amendment, but they also promoted what you're looking for, top quality barrel horses. Go ahead and give Tracy a call at 701-471-6629 and tell them Guns and 701.com sent you. That's Anvil Brand LLC out of Bismarck, North Dakota.
At Horton Laser Craft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton Lasercraft makes every moment unforgettable. Visit HortonLasercraft.com today and start crafting your perfect gift. For more info, email them at HortonLasercraft@yahoo.com or call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton Lasercraft, where memories are engraved.
T-shirts tucked in, know my worth, can't tell me nothing. White Nikes, albino, pink up my stilo, head to the top, bottom line is a motto.
Welcome back. It's Leon Francis with Blackbeard Logic on the Guns and the 701 Network. Let's get it. Welcome back. Welcome back. Leon Francis coming to you from the middle of North Dakota. Somewhere in the middle of North Dakota. So this is Blackbeard Logic, Guns in the 701 Network. And I titled this show Data Center Framework. And this is my framework going forward. I want you guys to tell me what you think. No more blank checks for these data centers. We need resident-driven rules for data centers and flock systems. We can just take flock systems out, but for these data center build-outs, I'm going to have another framework within the coming weeks about the flock system and what we should do about that. But in this debate over AI data centers, I know this to be a fact. Residents feel that the process has been one-sided and information from officials incomplete. And we just discussed that. Applied Digital made everybody sign NDAs. So how can the public be informed, properly informed, if they know nothing about what's going on until the projects and the permits and all of that has a 2-week to month head start There's no public input then. None. So I'm proffering a stronger set of remedies here. I think that officials must secure the strongest possible terms for our communities, maximum local benefits and involvement, with the smallest impact on energy and water and land use. These facilities are extremely resource intensive. I mean, an average AI data center can consume electricity equivalent to a city of 100,000 homes, while the largest rival the power demands of 2 million homes. They also require massive volumes of cooling water and large tracts of land that would otherwise support ag or other needs. Questions linger about the long-term profitability, actual customer demand, and whether communities will be stuck with an underperforming asset. I mean, I spoke about this on another show. There are emerging space-based alternatives to this. Elon Musk is working on that right now. And they use constant solar power, and they radiate the heat into the vacuum of space. And that concept will render the terrestrial data centers obsolete. Not to mention, they're a target. We all talk about China. What do you think they're going to hit if we have a war? To protect residents, I believe that this simple framework should be implemented. And we'll start with this one. We need to require robust public engagement upfront. That's full public input, independent studies on water, energy, land, and environmental effects, plus complete transparency. We can't have any more of this NDA BS. Complete transparency must occur before any permits are issued, before any public funds are committed, or before any construction begins. I remember seeing these big, the Harwood site. I remember seeing that thing and thinking it was another Amazon facility. Had no idea. Construction was well underway before I heard anything about it being a data center. Step 2. You pause construction if input was skipped with real consequences. So if there's an issue that comes up and public input was skipped, you halt all work for at least 90 days, regardless of what stage it's in. And there must be time for a genuine citizen review. I'll be on that review board if they want me to. If not, there are people more qualified than me. I'll have my say, though. If citizens are overwhelmingly opposed after proper input, the project must face a binding public vote or a veto by the affected community. It can't be simply pushed through anyway, which is what is happening. Like, one of the biggest concerns that I have is our public input, our concerns, they're not going to care. This is big money talking right now. They're going to push it through anyway. I mean, a microcosm of that is, think about how hard all the districts worked to get their candidates selected. Big money bought the candidates that they wanted. We got to put a stop to this kind of thing. And that's what number 2 does in this framework. Number 3, create a community protection fund with independent oversight. Developers must establish and fully fund an independent escrow account before approval. Awards from harm or violated conditions must be decided and dispersed by a neutral third-party administrator, not local officials, using clear, predefined criteria and open litigation process. And again, I welcome any legal mind because I submitted this as a letter to the editor. I will in the forum. I'll submit it to other newspapers around the state. Anyone that wants can email me or contact me through my social media. I'll give you the entire thing. You can run it to an attorney. You can work this framework however you. If there are things that I missed, work it in there. If there are things that I'm off base on, work it in there. I think this is a basic framework to alleviate what I see going on in this space, in this environment at this time. I think there needs to be a community protection fund with independent oversight. Here's number 4. Enforce strict penalties for misconduct. This is another big problem that I see. We see violations happen. We don't see handcuffs. Any misleading, inaccurate, or incomplete statements by officials or developers must trigger automatic heavy fines, potential criminal charges, and disqualification from office. Enforcement must include independent prosecutors or state-level oversight to prevent local authorities from ignoring the violations, as often happens with campaign finance laws. We see this all the time. We need one of the angst that I have with the Trump administration right now is we saw all of the violations of the law. We see very few prosecutions. And to bring this back down to a local level, I see the same thing. I think this would alleviate that. We need strict penalties and enforcement of those penalties. Here is number 5. Require full decommissioning and site restoration plan. Now, if the project is abandoned or it goes bankrupt or becomes obsolete, like I mentioned with the space-based data centers, they would render the terrestrial data centers obsolete. Maybe they could be repurposed. I don't know. But if the project is abandoned or goes bankrupt or becomes obsolete, the developer must fully fund and execute complete dismantling, recycling, or reuse of materials, and full restoration of the site to its pre-construction condition, or better, in my humble opinion, at no cost to the community or the taxpayer. And given the rapid pace of technological change, this plan and its funding must be secured up front. I believe that this framework gives citizens real power instead of token input. I think it's a strong starting outline. The real strength will come from locking down the exact who, how, and what in the details. I believe that residents should present this at council meetings. I think they should submit it in writing and then push for formal adoption or legal backing. That's my hope with this thing. I hope that there are some plucky patriots out there listening to me right now that will take this plan to their city council meetings. And this is it. and I will post it on my social media in full, and hopefully one of the papers of note will also publish it. But this is the framework, and this is just the bones of the framework. This can be extrapolated out. It's scalable, as we say in the IT world. Let me know what you guys think about that. I'm going to wrap up the show by saying this. Again, I am not anti-progress. I am not anti-tech. I'm not. Like, my life is basically tech. That's basically what it is. It's how I feed my family. I am one of those guys that dreams about the future, and I could see the promise. I can see it, and I'm excited by it. But I also see that without safeguards, it could become a very scary time. And what we're doing right now, the reason why I lump AI and data centers and plot cameras and security and central bank digital currency and FISA courts and the Fourth Amendment, why I lump all of those in together and talk about them all together, because this is the network. It's the network. If you're looking at each individual thing, you could say it's not so bad. But if you look at it as a unit, a network, all working together, again, and I'll say it, I said it once, I'll say it a million times, when I was building out, and this is a COVID thing, actually. The RFID scanning, the RFID tracking that UPS started was during COVID, so that we could track, like, the what are they, the swabs that were being sent out everywhere, and then the vaccines, because they needed to know where they were at all times. They needed to know that they, couldn't be contaminated, that whole thing. And so we built out the network to accommodate that. And it worked brilliantly. Anywhere that package was, we knew it. And again, that's what I see that we're building right now. A massive tracking state. Massive. And when you look at it through my eyes, I see what the data centers are. I said this on the Due North Political Podcast. If you open up your laptop or your server and you just look at the board, that's basically what America is becoming. One big motherboard for AI, because it needs a lot of power. And with that power, with that computing power, it's going to get massively hot. When we solve that bottleneck, and that's what these guys are trying to do, they're trying to solve that bottleneck. They're trying to do it as cheaply as possible, because we can put all these things, in Alaska, they'd be fine. I notice nobody is, nobody's running to Alaska to prop these things, but that would be the best way to get over that hump, to knock out that bottleneck. Just put them all in Alaska, Always cold there. Which is why North Dakota is so attractive, because it gets so cold here. And we have so few, like, brutally hot days. So the cost to operate is much lower. And then we have abundant land, and we have relatively cheap energy, and all of those things. So I understand the draw. And I understand that if I'm a guy and I had investments, I'd push North Dakota because it's an attractive place. But we need safeguards. No more NDAs. No more shutting out community input. No more calling people with valid questions stooges for Chinese propaganda. We can't do that. We got to be better than that. We got to be more informed than that. It can't be, that cannot be the discussion going forward. Like what happened in Fargo, everything that happens in Fargo, to me, I smack my head. When I see the police chief coming on, extolling the virtues of AI, when they literally locked a woman up and forgot about her behind AI facial recognition, and you're just like, oh my God, these people are idiots. Did we forget about that? They literally locked this woman up from, I don't know, Tennessee during Christmas. Locked her up, brought her all the way here, forgot about her. Forgot that she was in custody for months. And she's innocent. The folks in Fargo, you're going to pay for that. And she deserves it. And then here, just a couple months after that, we're installing the virtues of flock technology. It blows my mind. And I saw that Fargo residents are going to pay an increase in energy, I think it was, when the chuckle nut that they just elected promised that would never happen. But hey, you're $1.37 billion in debt. I mean, talk about rock bottom, you know. I don't know. What I want you guys to get out of this episode is this. They're building the framework for a digital prison without safeguards. With safeguards, the infrastructure that they're building out is going to do amazing things. Absolutely phenomenal things. Humanity-changing things. We're going to be able to leave this rock and explore like our ancestors did. But on the ocean. We're going to be able to do that same thing in space. Something that I've dreamed about since I was a child. We're going to have medical leaps in medical innovation because AI can think. It can crunch the data and all of that stuff much more efficiently than the human brain can because it's a machine. That's what it does. But because it's a machine, we have to put safeguards in place. Because what if the machine decides that you're a domestic terrorist? You have no physical money because you have central bank digital currency. If you have a newer car, they could shut that down right now. And think about this. When we're talking about data centers, think about everything that comes with that. Think about the noise pollution. Like nobody's talking. If you work in an office, walk into your server room. Just open the door. Tell me what you hear. And then imagine that times 1,000. I heard a public official say it's only like 80 decibels. It's like the sound of a car or something. But imagine that sound, even if it's just at 80 decibels, 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. That's going on. In a data center that is massive. This is why public input is so important. This is why this framework that I presented here is so important. This is why it's so important to hold public officials accountable, like the public officials in Fargo that signed those NDAs for Applied Digital. I believe they broke the law. I believe that. And from every, and again, I have a legal mind. I have a mind, but it's not a legal mind. I believe they broke the law. And I am shocked that no one has come forward and said, wait a minute, you guys broke the law. You can't. We have the Sunshine Law in North Dakota. You guys signed an NDA? I don't care if you backdated it or put language in there, but you withheld public information that the public needed. And you know why you did it. You wanted to affect exactly what happened. Applied Digital is not going to be set back, despite public outrage. You're going to have the talking heads, the local talking heads all over, downplaying public input that was not just skipped, ignored. They didn't even have a chance because these people signed NDAs as public officials. That's a problem. I'm going to walk it back. It's Friday. You guys should be out having fun. I'm done on my soapbox. But again, what I see going forward, we can't operate like this. If this is the way we're going to operate, then, you know, and again, I'm in the middle of nowhere right now. And I see a flock camera just go up. You're not going to be able to escape it. We need to be loud about this. You need to ask yourself what you're leaving to your kid or your grandkid. Because right now, it's a mild inconvenience. And they rolled out a bunch of this infrastructure so quietly. So quietly. Elon Musk, here. I had something here about, yeah. So this. Elon Musk the other day dropped a reality check that should wake everyone up. You got 3 years, maybe less, to keep making real money by selling your time. After that, AI and robots are going to handle the majority of tasks so efficiently that paying a human just to show up will stop making economic sense. The whole model that we lived by for the last 2 centuries, trade your hours for a salary, is coming to an end. And when it does, we're going to see the largest transfer of wealth in modern history. The people already positioning themselves understand this. The ones waiting for the evening news to confirm it, they'll be too late. And that's what I'm afraid of. Elon proffers, what should you do with these next 3 critical years? Stop trading time for a depreciating dollar. Start converting every hour until you still control assets that AI cannot replicate or multiply at will. He talked about Bitcoin. I'm not a big Bitcoin guy. I'm just not. I like physical things like land, energy sources, real infrastructure, strong networks of capable people, skills to produce what you actually need. Like when my son, he's going to know how to turn a wrench. He's going to know how to plumb. I've already started with him. Like at 5, I started with that dude. He's going to know how to build a chair if he needs it. He's going to know how to hunt for food. And I'm not going to keep him away from technology because I want him to understand it. But I also want him, when I leave this earth, when I shake off this mortal coil, so to speak, I want him to be independent. I don't want him to be like, some of the sci-fi movies when you're completely dependent on the government for everything. Where you have a social credit like they do in China. Where you have no ability to go out and hunt and gather your food. Like Eli is growing his own garden. He's going to be selling those things. He's taking care of his own chickens and goats and all of that stuff. Things that actually matter when the power goes out. Because at the end of the day, it won't matter how hard you worked. What will matter is what you own. The calluses on your hands. And the ones that make this leap now will look back in, 2035 and say, I saw it coming. And the rest will be wondering why they didn't listen. Contrary to what my friend said, if your kid is in college getting, an African lesbian degree in poli-sci or something like that, they're already not going to have a job. But if your kid doesn't have the blue collar type job, if they're going for, whatever, if they're not going to a vocational school to learn like welding or how to turn a wrench in a car, old school, or ag or something like that, the future is going to be turbulent, to say the very least. And I'll leave you guys with that. Check out the framework. Check out my legal argument. I will put all of that online on my social media for you guys to check out. Shop it around. Like, seriously, what I want you to do is my legal argument and my infrastructure, this loose infrastructure that I pull together for this framework for citizens to take to their city council meetings and pick it apart, do what you will with it, but let's get this done. I mean, what I see going on is criminal, in my humble opinion. I want to know what your opinion is. So, even if you hate me, even if you think I'm just some bloviating, loudmouth on the Guns in the 701 network, take what I provided here and shop it around and let me know what you think. Leon Francis, Blackbeard Logic, God bless, and thank God it's Friday. Have a great weekend.